We got Fresco 9160 says, Martinez from Sacramento, California. Big fan, champ. Will the power come up with you to 154? Been a little while since your last knockout or stoppage. When will we see one time again?
That's right. You know, been in this game for a long time, right? We saw what happened to Tyson. You know, Tyson was a knockout guy. We saw what happened to Tyson. You know, you get him past the sixth, it's a different fight. You know, if you can weather that storm. You know, so I've been a puncher my whole career. But as a 12-round fighter, I started conditioning myself for 12-round fights, to have 12-round performances. And then to sit there and always focus on the knockout is a double-edged sword. If I'm looking for the knockout, waiting for the knockout, trying to set up the knockout, but rounds are going by, am I still winning those rounds? What if the knockout doesn't happen? Knockout happens, fight's over. The knockout doesn't happen, we got to go to the scorecards. So we got to play this fine game. And in the meanwhile, I was working on my footwork. I was working on my combinations. I was working on getting hit less and doing certain things. And I wanted that opportunity to showcase these skills and these talents. And I've had that. And so it's really important to get back to the fundamentals of sitting down on the punches. You saw them today. You saw me sitting down, you know. So it's the performance is the outcome of the preparation of the fight, right? You don't see Beyonce on stage talking about all the single ladies. You know what I'm saying? You know, and she ain't gonna, you know, she knows what she's supposed to do. She know her little moves. You know what I mean? But she don't just get up on stage and all of a sudden, you know, all my single ladies. Oh, what am I doing? All my single ladies. Oh wait, all my single ladies. You know, she ain't lost out there because she prepared for her performance. You know, so the more the proper preparation that you put in, that preparation then determines the manifestation of what you see, right? When you say, man, this fighter, we really expected more out of him, and you didn't get more out of him, where did that come from? Is it age? Is it this? Is it that? But a lot of times, you could just, if you know that fighter, you know where it happened in camp. You know what I'm saying? You know where it happened in camp. I hate to say it, but you know, when Sean lost and his daddy got on TV and said everything that he had to say, while his son just is about to announce the last fight of his career, he could have easily just kept that information to himself, but he let us know that Sean's camp was off. He wasn't listening. They weren't in agreement. Certain things weren't happening. They weren't ebbing and flowing properly. Who knows if there was some soreness, if there was some injuries that were unspoken of. See, I'm transparent. That's what y'all get out of Keith Thurman. Y'all get the realest out of the real. I don't need to hide nothing and really sugarcoat a lot of stuff. I know how to tiptoe. I know how to be politically correct, but I also know how to give it to you straight. You know, I know how to open up and share with you this journey of mine of being a world-class fighter. And, you know, some people just think, you know, I'm a clown and this and that. I'm working, baby. I'm working. And when I'm at work, ain't I allowed to have some fun? You know? Just, you know, what you see, because you only get a limited time with Keith Thurman. What you see is not me. It's just that part of me that you get to see. It's a percentage of who I am. It's not all that I am. And I'm happy to give you that. I'm happy to sell a fight. I'm happy to talk trash to Mexican Tszyu. I'm happy to do what I do to get you ready to be fully anticipating a world-class performance. All you haters, all you doubters, you actually believe that Keith Thurman is not going to put on a world-class boxing performance? You definitely got it twisted. I've been that my whole life, kid. And ain't nothing gonna stop that.
I got Kerry G from South Carolina. Do you feel like seemingly healthy lifestyle can, Do you feel like a seemingly healthy lifestyle and staying in the gym has prepared you for a smooth transition to 154?
Yeah, you know, we've been in the gym, we've been waiting, they've been yo-yoing. They've been yo-yoing me with contracts. You don't even know how many contracts I signed last year. You know?
How many?
Minimum 3, maybe 2, 3. You know, like there's like I just
Spence, Stanionis.
First I agreed to a list of names. Okay. Then it's their job to put one fight together as it happens. You know, I think from not even just last year, but the year before, because we had the mandate with Errol Spence, right? We had the mandate with Errol Spence. Mm-hmm. I saw my contract. I signed my contract to fight Errol Spence. Okay, so we had that one, right? Then we had a contract that had a list of names on it, you know. Then I got a phone call, and I agreed to the list. And then I got a phone call narrowing in on one of the names on that list, Ugas. You have Ugas making statements thinking that he's going to fight Keith Thurman, and then that doesn't happen. So there's so much to the game. There's so much that has happened. The greatest thing in my inactivity is it's Tim Tszyu's job to beat Keith Thurman up, but I ain't been in the ring. So I ain't been beat up, you know? So if he's going to beat me up, he's going to have to do it on that night and that night only. Keith Thurman's not beat up. I'm preserved. For better or for worse. I'm putting in the work. I'm shaking off the dust. What you guys think is rust, it ain't rust. Rust is thicker than dust. I'm shaking off some dust. I'm just getting my body to move a little quicker. I've been in and out of the gym, but I haven't been dedicated and focused for that contract. This fight is locked in. The camp is locked in. We're doing everything that we need to do. And that's how we have faith that we're going to be the one victorious and not Tim Tszyu.
Tip Bellis says, how has the transition with Coach K been since Dan Birmingham retired?
Yeah, it's different, but you know, there's one beautiful thing that Dan did. There's one beautiful thing that Keon does, and that's they let me do the thinking. You know, this is not new to me. You know, Keon is able to do exactly what Dan did. Dan held mitts for many, many years. We have an ebb and a flow. And people think about reflexes, but one reason why I'm able to keep my reflexes is because when we do our mitt work, he doesn't tell me he's going to throw a jab. He doesn't tell me he's going to my body or he's going to throw a hook. They just try to hit me. They just do their best after my combo. Bop, bop, bop. They just reach, boom. They try to hit me. And they try to be fast, too. They like it. Oh, see, champ, you're slow. I'm catching you. This and that. The coaches like trying to talk smack. They like telling me that I'm a step behind. I like being a step ahead, right? So that playfulness that we do on mitts has always kept my alertness and my ring IQ very high. When I stepped in the ring the other day, I worked with some young pros, some young amateurs, and I just did 8 rounds of jab only, you know. But everything that I was seeing, it was everything that I wanted to see. Everything that I wanted to see that just shows me that this is where you belong, champ. I always forget how good I am in the boxing ring until I'm in there with somebody who is not as good. And I get to see all the small mistakes they make, all the way that they move their feet. You know, Keith Thurman's feet are one of the most underrated things in boxing. Everyone who's ever gotten in the ring with me realized to dance with me is different. I move the way I want to move. I see how you move, and then like Iverson, I try to cross you up. I try to see if I can get your feet all mixed up. Because once your feet are out of position, you're out of position. It starts from the base up. It's basic fundamentals. You know, I'm just a real one in the sport. I didn't get to the top from my power alone. If that was who I was, that's fine. That's fine. I've had a great career. If that was my career, that's fine. But that's not Keith Thurman's career. Like I said, as a 12-round fighter, I constantly executed showing how I can box, how I can move, how I can make adjustments. And then I'm still a puncher, so I'm a boxer puncher. Off of my weird movement comes some heavy shots. I'm the old one, 35 years old. They're calling me an OG. I get to be the veteran now. You know, when I'm in the gym, I remember when I was in this piece and I was the youngest. 14 years old. Winky was the champ. Jeff was the champ. 14 years old. Now I'm the old head, right? Well, if that's the case, man, then, you know, I had this old beat coming up in my head, but, you know, the lyrics weren't proper, so I had to change the lyrics a little bit, but the beat just felt right, you know? And I just thought to myself, this fight's real simple, you know? All I'm gonna do is a little zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. I'm gonna shake you up, okay? That's what Thurman's gonna do. All I'm gonna do is a little zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. I'm gonna shake you up, all right? Tszyu's gonna get shook, man. It's just a matter of time. I'm training, I'm dedicated, I'm putting in the time, work, effort, mentally stable, mentally visualizing victory. And I just believe that when I align myself properly, Keith Thurman was, is, and will always be one of the toughest fighters any fighter can step in the ring with.
Bellis from Baltimore says, what's your thoughts on certain media still pushing narratives that you are avoiding Spence after he expressed he didn't want to fight you?
Huh? Hold on, that sounds like a contradicting statement. I'm avoiding...
No.
What?
No, what's your thoughts on certain media channels pushing the narrative that you are still avoiding Spence when he has already said he doesn't want to fight you?
I don't know. I don't know why they push certain narratives. That's not even a prevalent narrative. I was his mandatory. I signed my contract. He never signed his. He made his money, and we're not sure when we're going to see that man again. You know, I'm here at 54. He said he wanted to move up. We can easily make a fight. You know, we can easily make a Thurman Spence fight. We always could have easily made it. Y'all got to understand. Who's Errol Spence with? Al Heyman. Who's Keith Thurman with? Al Heyman. When did Keith Thurman ever hear from Al Heyman, hey, we can get you Spence. Spence wants to fight you. We're gonna want. He called my name out a long time ago, right? Did Al call me?
I think the first time was after the Robert Guerrero fight.
When he called me out. He was on some. I think he was on the undercard of when Porter and Broner fought, something of that nature.
Yeah, he
right?
was on versus Phil Greco.
So he was still coming up at that time, and he called me out. You know, I didn't hear the real phone call from Al. Not one time. Like, hey, look, this kid's here. You can take it or you can not take it, Keith. Never got that phone call. Only got the phone call when I became his mandatory. He became a world champion. He never was my mandatory. You know? So, like I said, I don't know who's pushing that narrative. That's not even a relative narrative right now. The narrative that is pushed, that people keep trying to push, is that Keith Thurman's fighting Tszyu because he's running away from Boots Ennis. He's doing this and that, you know. The thing is, I want to have fights. I want to have a continuous career. This opportunity opened up. Short notice. They've been yo-yoing me all year. I'm starting to feel the same frustration that Adrian Broner mouthed off about before he ever signed with the Don King promotion. He said, man, they're doing this, they're doing that. I don't know why I'm being treated like this and that. Boom, 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 boom. Me and AB got something in common there. Okay? So at the end of the day, it's like, here's a new contract for you. Do you want to fight at 47? We're going to have a date for you. You want to fight at 54, which Dan manifested as 55. Bet. Run it. I can work hard, but not have to drain my body on this short notice to make a fight happen. I believe that I will be able to go back down to the welterweight division if there's a prevalent fight that's good out there. You know, Thurman versus a lot of people is world-class events, right? People like Stanley Onis, Boots Ennis, you know, we see a champion that's not a champion. I'm a former champion. There's nothing on the line. There's nothing to gain. You know, there's a check, but there's nothing to really gain. And then there's still that small window of, hey, Thurman beats this kid. How many of y'all are gonna say, well, he didn't really fight enough good people? You know, look at his record. Doesn't he got more fights than me?
Ooh, not Stanley Onis.
No, not Stanley Onis. Boots.
He's about 30 fights in. 28, 30 maybe.
It's 30. I'm like 30. I got 31 fights. He got many fights as me. He don't got the resume I got. We're not doing the same thing, even though we're doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if I do that, they can say, well, his resume was actually padded and this and that. There's nothing really there for me to gain. He becomes champion. Okay, he's champion, Keith, and you don't want to. He just became champion. Calm down. I can count the months on how long this dude's been champion for. You know what I mean? Like, slow down. You know, it is what it is. That everything has a time and place. That doesn't seem like the time and place. It's not what was manifested to me. It was actually going to be, they had Stanley Onis prepped. He thought he was going to be fighting Erickson Lubin. I thought I was going to be fighting Stanley Onis. What do you guys want to see? You guys want to see Tszyu fight Erickson Lubin? Y'all saw Lubin's last fight, right? Y'all want to see Tszyu fight Erickson Lubin? What's that going to do for Tszyu? Keith Thurman is going to put hands on Tszyu. Keith Thurman is really going to see what Tszyu brings to the table, and I'm going to put myself in position in a new division, and let's see the doors that open up. If they continue to open up, I need to get this ball rolling. Beat Boots Ennis, beat Stanley Onis. I already beat Mario Barrios, who is now a current champion. Like, what? The welterweight division is not exciting for me as it was in my generation. So I'm moving to find fights that excite me and hopefully fights that excite the fans. And if Boots ever truly manifests in an exciting fashion, you best believe if the contract is in front of me, I've never pushed a contract back. I sign it.
We got Clemente from Phoenix. After you one time, Tszyu, would you give Earl Spence a shot at you?
I wouldn't mind giving Earl Spence a shot, but I've been promised, because they denied me this world title, that if I beat Tszyu, that I'll be given a title shot. And there's only one other champion out there.
Jamel Charlo.
So let's be real. Let's just say I beat Tszyu. Technically, I should have that belt. If I was in 2 fights, you guys want to understand how Keith Thurman thinks. You got to understand this real quick. In 2 fights, if I beat Tszyu, then I beat Charlo, I technically just won all the belts at 154. And then, you know, there's somebody who's trying to do that, who's trying to do stuff, make big fights happen. He doesn't know how many times he's going to fight Crawford. But he would like to maybe unify. That's why he wanted Homeboy, but he got stripped of a title. Now he can't really be the undisputed, you know. And if I beat this kid and then I beat the other guy, I'll have 3 out of the 4. I'm not truly undisputed. But if I just beat the 2 champions, then I'm actually undisputed. So, man, look, I'm a dreamer, man. And if y'all don't vibe with these dreams, it's whatever, man. I just love this sport. I believe there's an interesting thing that's finally getting my blood boiling and getting me excited in the sport of boxing. I think 2024, the stars are in alignment. Planetary shifts are happening, and there is a window of opportunity for me to reestablish, like you said, from the Pacquiao loss. Keith Thurman beats Manny Pacquiao. That only adds to the legacy that I sustained at 147. And it would have led towards the Spence fight. Spence fighting not Keith Thurman only happened because Keith Thurman didn't win in 2019. Let's be real. You think you were supposed to watch Errol Spence fight Udenis Ugas? You think that's what the world of boxing had in store for you? Man, Most people don't know ish about boxing. I'm cool with that. I got to get back to that beautiful family of mine. Wife done called me 2 times. I'm here chapping it up with you guys, okay? Because I got love for this game. Because nobody makes me do what I do, but I do what I do. At the end of the day, because I love this sport. Before you ever knew what boxing was, man, I'm just in here grinding, living a dream, red, white, and blue. You know what I'm saying? So tune in, Thurman versus Tszyu, March 30th, and stop asking questions. Just be a witness and see what happens, baby. Who gonna get who? Ooh!
I know that's your outro. Give me this last one because this is one of your biggest fans. Intrigue the Incredible. He's a huge Thurman fan, and he'll kill me. He says, after you beat Tim, you need to call out Bud directly so everyone knows he still has unfinished business with you. The people need to see Thurman versus Crawford 2024, but who would you favor between Mario Barrios versus Jaron Ennis? That is something that's being talked about. It was supposed to be actually March 30th. That was their date was your date, and Barrios is having a child, so he pulled out.
Okay, so you know everybody's impressed with Barrios' last performance, but at the end of the day, I still go with Boots. I like athleticism, you know. Even though he doesn't have the footwork that I have, he's got head movement. He's got a clever style. I think it's something that Mario's never seen before when it comes to a world-class switch hitter like that. I fought a switch hitter, the same switch hitter that Spence ended up knocking out, you know. The French fighter.
Bundu.
Bundu, you know. So he was an Olympian, you know. So I've been in there with experienced switch hitters many times in my career. I don't know his backstory. You know, I like athleticism. I like power. You know, I like hunger. There's a lot of things that he's seen. One's been defeated by greats. One has yet to be defeated. He's making himself great in today's generation. So I believe he's going to do his best to steamroll through Mario Barrios to try to prove those facts and to stay the scary guy at 147. But, you know.
His other part was, would you call out Bud directly?
Yeah, Bud, you know, like I just gave you the statement on what could lead up, you know. Bud we'd be fighting for money, we'd be fighting for name, we'd be fighting for fame, we wouldn't be fighting for titles, which I got nothing wrong with that, but I'm gonna have to sit on that, you know. After Tszyu, we do what we do, we get the victory that we're looking for. What is the next step? Do we become champ? Do we do our best to make ourselves champion by going after Charlo, or do we just take the big money fight, tell this man, yo, you got unfinished business, stop hiding, Canelo don't want you, you say you don't want this, but I'm here, stop playing, there's no hesitation, send the contract, let's talk about it, yada, yada, yada. And you're right, be vocal, be vocal. It will be something that I think the industry will be expecting. It's something that they'll be anticipating, something that could manifest. But I don't know why, man. A lot of these dudes are adamant that, you know, they don't want to fight me. That's why this performance is important. We have a world-class performance. We stopped Tim Tszyu. Thurman knocks out Tszyu. Headlines, articles. You guys get the talking. The fans get the talking. The barbershops get the talking. The podcast hit. Then we start saying who we want to fight next. We throw some shots at, boom, 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 at Crawford, and we see if he finally wants to shoot back, you know. He's in a very powerful position. He's been very patient. But if he's not getting fights, and if Canelo avoids him, all of a sudden, you might want your mans in there.
YouTube family, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get to that 1 million subscribers. We're on the road to 1 million. And obviously, we have other great content on our Patreon channel. So since this video is over, head on over to our Patreon and check out all the exclusive content or right here on our YouTube members.